Hello. Well, as I have covered the series of messages all about what it is like when parents lose their own kids, popular kids, in this instance, and what I might say, and what must I say? You know what? It can make it the entire surviving family's business of how to deal with their stress, their pain, and their anxieties to the point where they seem to be very, very, very close to their children. Imagine so. I have said on many occasions that children, in a sense, should outlive their parents when they say, in almost the complicated manner, parents, in fact, do outlive their kids. Well, mainly because it's kind of tough to say whether the kid is not having enough momentum, not taking enough vitamins, or just hearing a lot more bad answers, negative results of what the docs have to say. But worst of all, I have to be honest with you, not taking care of their own lives seriously. And this is what happens. But let's face it, if you look up through your own perspective, and I have had so many parents who have lost their own children, they ought to know what the good and what the bad can affect you just before something really, really, really bad has happened. The first thing they have to do is to see it from their own biblical perspective. In other words, they're the ones who would have to ask God each day prior to waking themselves up in the morning and letting God know what it's like to just take things one step at a time, deal with the healing process, moving forward, and then go yourself from that total extreme. Another is always try to learn about the finer points that a kid might have done or might have lacked. Some things kids do and don't do, well, they may be very paramount to the parents. Some of them done paramount things, some of them did not. And it is up to the kids to think in such a way that every parent would have done something greater for the Lord. Because, you know, going back, thinking about how you would try to hold on to yourself without being totally depressed, how to keep moving forward, how to begin your healing process, where to go from here, and so forth, and how to think just like every other normal parent would. Because thinking about because thinking about what you have done to your kid may be helpful. However, it's going to be as harder and harder than what you think. But and if you continue worrying about what your kid did before dying, I mean, chances are you're not going to be able to make things healthy for yourself. But if, however, you think about how God can do, but if you think about what in such a way that God is helping you to do to become a better person, how to mend yourself a broken heart, then chances are you might get better at it. And I have seen all of this happen before. In other words, parents have to talk to God, ask God, and believe in saying the things that absolutely make sense. parents have to say to the Lord, and asking these questions: what should I do? What can I do? What can I do? Or what would I be doing next? Or how would I be able to say that? Because sometimes being speechless, sometimes losing a kid may be also losing a loss for, may be a loss for words. For instance, if you go to somebody's funeral, then you could be a loss of words for that kid when, in a sense, you are actually showing God's love and appreciation towards the parent who lost the kid. And at the same time, is a loss for words. Because if you are showing your own value system to the one who's a loss for words, and at the same time be able to express it in a positive way, then you will be able to be the number one person on the planet. And you will also be number one for the reason, in such a way that almost nobody has done, and that is you're setting the bar high for others who have lost their own kids. You have also encouraging them how to make sure they keep pressing and moving forward, and they can take balance so they can open up a brand new chapter. I don't know if other parents might have, but it's about time other parents can open up the chapter and be able to just mend themselves a broken heart. And number three, try to ask God for many ways in which that one thing has lacked in front of a kid. Whether popular or not, a parent will always think as to how much they really love them and appreciate them. The same way everybody appreciates Jesus, simply by loving them and showing the same thing I have already said to you before. It may not be that simple, but it can also be worth the shot, believe it or not. And believe me, it has happened more than what you think. But the bottom line is that we have got to be strong for others. And we just have to learn how to think in such a way that the parent whom you met with the kid will always be there for you. They're the ones who will have your back, and they will be your best friend too. All the way, and all the way too. Well, I want to thank you very much for listening to my commentary, and be blessed, and always love your family. And take care. Bye.